This is probably going to be the best fantasy football video ever made. And the reason I say this is it's the first time that we can look back on a team that was drafted on a live stream that won $100,000 and hear the exact fantasy football draft strategy behind it. So just in case you don't know, last year I won $150,000 on Underdog Fantasy. This draft here, I won the Big Dog tournament for $100,000. It was a $250 buy-in, and this is the tournament that I'm going to be doing every single night on this live stream going forward, as well as mixing in obviously the $4, $5 tournaments. If you're new to Underdog, I would definitely recommend you stick with the lower buy-in amounts. I mean, hell, Best Ball Mania $25 buy-in, $3 million for first place. They still have some crazy prizes out there. But nonetheless, if you want to get in one of those drafts with us, we are streaming every single night. They're best ball, no time commitment at all during the year. And if you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you'll get a 2023 fantasy football draft guide on flockfantasy.com, as well as all our 2023 fantasy football rankings. But this is the same site that has all the pick'em lines y'all are used to seeing in the videos. My favorite pick'em line right now is going to be the DeAndre Swift for more rushing yards than Damian Harris. But let's go ahead and let's start off this live stream, and hopefully we can see where the magic was made. The third spot, in my opinion, is one of the best picks to have this season. We are going to be able to get an elite level wide receiver. And hell, if we don't take an elite level wide receiver, that's because we ended up getting Jonathan Taylor. We ended up getting Christian McCaffrey falling to us. So regardless, we are going to have a very strong start in round one. And I like what we'll have available to us at the 2-3 turn. I like the fact that we can get an elite level tight end, an elite level quarterback at the 4-5 turn. So this will be very exciting. It looks like team one is about to be on the clock. I'm assuming we have Christian McCaffrey, then Jonathan Taylor off the board with the first two picks. That's my guess for these high stakes drafts. I think you are going to get CMC at 1. Thanks, Ben. Says, is this a 250 draft? Yes, this is the 250 draft. Yeah, they're taking this down to the last second. Let's see if they just auto Jonathan Taylor or they set up a queue. No, they just auto draft Jonathan Taylor. Maybe they didn't really care about anybody else at the 101, so they're not going to check in until the second round. But hell, if they're on auto, that's going to help us. If they're on auto throughout the rest of the draft, this isn't just a regular random mock draft you'll find online where you're annoyed if you're on auto draft. No, you're excited to see people auto drafting here because that just means they're donating their $250 to the league pot, which thank you. Is this team on auto as well? If we have two teams auto drafting in the $250 draft, no, they go Justin Jefferson. So hell, I guess we're going to get Christian McCaffrey at pick 3. I thought we were going to go Jefferson. I thought we would potentially get Cooper. I don't know. I don't want to complain. It's Christian McCaffrey at pick 3. Obviously, this is a selection that has a risk given the injury history we have over the past 2 years with Christian McCaffrey. But at the same time, CMC has a higher upside in fantasy football than really anybody else you're going to find. I still think Jonathan Taylor's the 101, but after Jonathan Taylor, you should be going CMC at 2, and I'm going to be happy that he fell to us at 3. See, we kind of get lucky here. I mean, I mentioned that I was drafting Jonathan Taylor over Christian McCaffrey last year. I'm man enough to admit it. Yes, I was an idiot, and I probably shouldn't have been doing it. But what's really funny is both in the draft where we won $20,000, where we reacted to that video last week, as well as this draft where we won the $100,000, Christian McCaffrey was our round 1 selection. So it kind of speaks to just going out there and at the end of the day, understanding that what we need is the highest ceiling possible and going after the guy who has it. Deebo Samuel at 18. Deebo would have been a wide receiver we would have taken if he made it back to us at 23, but hell, you're never really expecting Deebo to make it back there once we saw that contract extension. I think in reality, we're going to be looking at either a Mark Andrews, and if we don't get a Mark Andrews, maybe a Mike Evans. I don't know. The draft is a little different at this point. I mean, hell, somehow we had Aaron Jones making it to us. That'd be great. This team goes Mike Evans pick 19. Aaron Jones goes 20. So are we right with the assumption that we may be coming away with Mark Andrews? This team in the first round decided to go Jamar Chase. They took Jamar Chase over Cooper Kupp. So they're willing to go out there on a limb and they're willing to just go with whatever their gut tells them. I mean, if you're taking Chase over Kupp, you got some pretty big balls to do that. Now let's see. This team's taking it. These drafters are so slow. Why are y'all taking it down to the very last second? I mean, I've done over 500 of these drafts. We kind of know who we want. And here, based on the running backs that will be available to us on the way back around, I'm confident that we would get one of Javonte Williams, Leonard Fournette, or Nick Chubb. And to be completely honest, especially with the Kareem Hunt trade rumors, I actually have Nick Chubb ranked at the very top end of this group. So we're going to take Tyreek Hill with the assumption that one of these running backs is going to make it to us on the way back around. Like I said, on Underdog Fantasy, you have to start 3 wide receivers. So if you have to start 3 wide receivers, you don't want to get completely boxed out of the position through the first 3 rounds. And I'm expecting that we are indeed going to end up with one of those running backs like a Nick Chubb sitting there at pick 27 for us. I mean, kind of funny we get luck boxed into Tyreek Hill. You hear us mention that we would have gone Andrews, we would have gone Aaron Jones if they would have made it to us. But yeah, sometimes it's better to be lucky than it is smart. Definitely starting with that unique balanced start, right? You going running back round 1, wide receiver round 2, giving us the flexibility to make plays later on in this draft. DJ Moore, 25. Oh my gosh. Y'all know I'm a DJ Moore fan, but that is aggressive. So this plays into exactly what we are looking for. We are trying to get one of Leonard Fournette or Nick Chubb on the way back around. That's why we decided to take Tyreek Hill there in the second. We are going to get one of these guys. If we have the option for either one, I'm probably actually going to end up going with Nick Chubb. But let's see. I think that if you're looking at Nick Chubb's possibility of just skyrocketing up these drafts with the trade of Kareem Hunt, it's easy to use that as a tie break, but Nick Chubb goes off the board. So instead, we are going to get Leonard Fournette here as our second running back. We're going to be getting Leonard Fournette at pick 27. I could not be more excited about what we have through the first 3 rounds. I mean, picking at 3 is already usually a good spot to begin with, but I felt like we had some pretty strong values making it back to us, especially if we're just talking about the raw upside of these picks. Imagine if we would have gone A.J. Brown there at 27. Starting off CMC, Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown. Oh, that would have been beautiful. And it's kind of just crazy to see that. I mean, Leonard Fournette was being drafted in the early 3rd. Javonte was being drafted in the 2nd. I mean, hell, Alvin Kamara there 17. Even Dalvin Cook 11. Joe Mixon 7. Jonathan Taylor 1. All the wide receivers kind of seem similar, but the running backs have just gotten shuffled around so much. Okay, so Courtland Sutton, Terry McLaurin go there at the 3-4 turn. Honestly, I'm not a fan of it. I don't necessarily think that we have any strong takes other than I probably prefer to just go Jalen Waddle, even though Jalen Waddle, of course, is in a very bad situation. But Jalen Waddle is a rookie last year at a better season than what you've ever seen from Courtland Sutton in his, I guess, now we could say age 27 career. He's going into his age 27 season. Now, Jalen Waddle does go pick 34 to Golf for Life. Golf for Life also has a very strong start so far. People are taking Courtland Sutton over Jalen Waddle. Can you freaking believe that? And Derek decides to go with that double stack, grab Gabriel Davis there. People that are significantly smarter than I am are doing this. If they take Josh Allen in the 3rd, they're going Gabriel Davis in the 4th. But sometimes I'm willing to admit that, hell, I'm not going to be following the smart people. I'm going to be going down my own path, probably a path to failure, but hell, I'm used to it by now. We are not going to be taking Gabriel Davis in the 4th round, even when we start with Josh Allen in the 3rd. Thank God we weren't taking Gabe Davis to the 3-4 turn, saving us a lot of money last year. Okay, so now let's scroll this down. I have an idea of what we potentially want to do if we don't have a value that we like making it back to us at pick 46. Okay. I got a plan, ladies and gentlemen. We have a plan. This team, I'd imagine they go Lamar. Let's see if they go Lamar Jackson. This is the team that decided to go Mark Andrews there in the 3rd. Yeah, they have A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase, and Mark Andrews so far through the first 3 rounds. They go Jerry Jeudy. Interesting. They take Jeudy over Lamar. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Darren Waller. I really want to come away with this turn with at least one elite level tight end, especially when we saw that one team decide to pair up the combination of both Travis Kelce and Kyle Pitts. I do think that's going to skew the overall tight end market in this entire league. So let's let's grab Darren Waller here when we have a chance. I think that we're very confident that we're going to get at least one of these elite level quarterbacks on the way back around to us, whether that's Herbert, Lamar Jackson, or Patrick Mahomes. How the hell did I win $100,000 last year going with Leonard Fournette round 3, Darren Waller round? I'm not going to lie to y'all. This is my first time watching this, all right? I don't know what we were thinking with Darren Waller round 4. I have an idea. I know y'all aren't going to like it. I know y'all won't. But let me know your thoughts on it. What do you think about us doubling down on the bully tight end strategy, taking Darren Waller and George Kittle here at the turn, possibly having a unique combo in that tournament style draft with access to an elite level ceiling, and at the same time, maybe causing a cascading effect where we saw that other team decide to pair up Kelsey and Kyle Pitts. Mike says no to Kittle in all caps. What we are doing is either Kittle or Mahomes. If y'all can convince me not to do Kittle, I won't do Kittle. Okay, everybody in the chat saying no Kittle. I'll listen to y'all this one time. We will go ahead. We will take the elite level quarterback in Patrick Mahomes. That was our initial plan, to get an elite level quarterback, an elite level tight end here at the turn. And I thought that we definitely needed to go out of our way and to get that elite level tight end once we had the bully tight end strategy implemented by Team 10. Oh my gosh, the chat saved us from taking George Kittle. The chat gave us Patrick Mahomes. I guess I owe y'all a big time thank you. I guess I maybe owe y'all $100,000. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Mahomes was my most drafted quarterback last year. You were getting him round 5. I mean, at this point of the offseason, I was a little concerned that I was drafting like too much Patrick Mahomes. He's my second most drafted player behind Jacobs, or third most behind Waddle. But let's see what this team decides to do here. That's gone 4 wide receivers. They take Jalen Hurts. I am very jealous of that. We are going to go ahead. We are going to take Amari Cooper. We need a second wide receiver here. At the same time, this is going to be a league where we're prioritized to focus in on weeks 15, 16, and 17 production. And if Deshaun Watson does play in those weeks, Amari Cooper should have access to an elite level ceiling. It's going to be a no-brainer selection for me here at pick 70. Yeah, if y'all don't know, I was taking a lot of Amari Cooper and I was taking a lot of Deshaun Watson just because in those underdog tournaments, right? I mean, weeks 15, 16, 17, that's where you really need to be focusing in on upside. Like if you're a best ball mania, you can start $25 into $3 million there. Obviously, we're just chasing pure upside for the fantasy football playoff tournament. So I was taking a lot of Amari Cooper and Deshaun Watson. Interested to see if I took Watson on this team as well. And I know it's crazy that I don't remember, guys. Come on, I drafted 700 teams, and last time I saw this team was back in February when we won it. It's not like I'm checking on this team, a screenshot every day. Let's see what Eton decides to do. We have Allen Lazard at 73. Y'all know I was never taking Lazard here. So it either comes down to one of these 3 guys. I'm thinking Devonta Smith. I'm thinking let's go ahead. Let's grab an elite level wide receiver here. Obviously, I don't think elite's probably the right term for Smith, but still puts up one of the best collegiate wide receiver seasons of all time. Ooh, this is... GA says Tony. I'm not doing Tony. If y'all want a wide receiver, we're going to go with Smith. I'm not doing Tony. Never mind. Looks like we're going to go Smith. I just have a feeling, guys, that these high-stakes drafters are going to be really pushing these wide receivers up in this round. So I think maybe y'all were right in the chat to go ahead and go Josh Jacobs. I will be completely honest. I have drafted a crap ton of 6th round Josh Jacobs. Now that he goes in the 7th round, it definitely hurts my soul. And trust me, it probably is going to end up hurting my bank account considering how much 6th round Josh Jacobs I've drafted. Maybe we still need to go ahead, take our guy Josh Jacobs here in the 7th. I don't know. I don't know. Just, it gets a little nerve-wracking when you've already drafted so much of him. I've had almost 20% of our drafts, Josh Jacobs. Here you see, Jacobs, my most drafted player last year. We pass on him 75, but it's not that we don't want to take him. It's that we kind of pigeonholed ourselves into a situation where we only went 1 wide receiver through the first 5 rounds, that we kind of had to go wide receiver on the turn no matter what happened, right? I mean, it's the same thing in a lot of underdog drafts that I'm in this year. We kind of find ourselves in the same situation where I'm forced to take wide receivers in the middle rounds. And I mean, especially as of late on the live stream, people just feel the need to clown on us when we decide to do something like this, right? Only go 1 wide receiver through the first 5 rounds. But I mean, you can clearly tell. I mean, if you set your roster construction a certain way, I mean, you can have great results with this strategy. Thomas says, Jacobs to have the stack with Waller and Carr. I think y'all are right. I think y'all are right. We should have gone ahead. We should have taken Josh Jacobs. I was just worried that we were going to have these drafters pushing up these wide receivers and that we were going to get running back value on the way back around at the 8-9 turn. And we wanted to go ahead and we wanted to take advantage of the running back value rather than the wide receivers later on. But now that I think through this, hell, we have Patrick Mahomes. What we're hoping for is we're hoping we get Sky Moore. We're hoping we get Marquez Valdez-Scantling on the way back around. So I think y'all were right. I think I was wrong. I think I made a mistake. I think we should have gone Josh Jacobs at pick 75. It's kind of funny is I don't even know if we would have won the 100,000 if we went Jacobs over Smith. Even though Jacobs obviously, I mean, top 3 running back in fantasy last year. I mean, we just needed a wide receiver so bad that I don't know if it would have made too much of a difference. So Chris Olave goes pick 83. So good for us. It's honestly a pretty good thing for us to see these wide receivers off the board. If we were to have an elite level quarterback make it back to us on the way back around, like if we get a Dak Prescott, if we end up getting a Tom Brady, we probably end up going with said quarterback. But there will be a couple different plays. There's one player in particular that I really want. Now, Derek takes our guy. He goes Clyde Edwards-Helaire, snipes us. Sky Moore pick 90. Oh, no. Don't do this to us. Please don't do this to us. Oh, this is going to be tough, ladies and gentlemen. There are 4 names that we want. 4 names that we want. A 5th guy that's a tier down. Miles Sanders was one of those names that we wanted, but it was unrealistic to assume that we had Miles Sanders making it back to us in 94. Matthew Stafford goes 92. Good. That's going to push down a name that we actually wanted. That is very good for us there. RCB on the clock. This is the team that honestly has crushed it so far. Outside of the Bateman pick, which I really don't like, I think they've crushed every single round. Getting Jacobs in the 6th. Getting Hurts in the 6th. Jacobs in the 7th is fantastic. So we're going to go ahead. We are going to make the no-brainer selection here. We are going to get Marquez Valdez-Scantling. We need the pick in a best ball format, especially when we go Patrick Mahomes. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is the no-brainer selection. Kareem Hunt was going to be the guy that we wanted to make it back to us at pick 99. Robert Woods goes 97. Okay, there are 2 running backs we're looking at this point. 2 running backs, potentially a receiver. One of those running backs is off the board. I don't want either of the New England backs. You tell me who you prefer here. So far, this is going to be our roster. Our options are James Cook or Tyler Lockett. We have Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette at running back. Tight end, we have Darren Waller. Quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. Wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, Amari. Okay, crap. We got 7 seconds left, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. We're going to go Lockett. Can we look back? Tyler Lockett was going wide receiver 47 in this draft. How was Lockett wide receiver 47 last year? It's going as like a borderline top 24 guy this year when all that happened is he's another year older and you add in JSN. Wild Lockett value last season. It's kind of funny is looking at all the messages in the chat as well. Looks like everybody was telling us to go James Cook. So thank God I listened to y'all when it came to Patrick Mahomes and ignored y'all when it came to Lockett. I know a lot of people are saying Ramondre Stevenson. I'm not a massive fan of taking either of these New England running backs because I think the possibility that you have the New England Patriots as a top 5 scoring offense in the NFL combined with the possibility that you have either one of those running backs just presumably going and getting every single touch out of the backfield, I think it's slim. I don't think it's likely for either situation. Yeah, we should have been drafting Ramondre. Tater Salad goes McCole Hardman, pick 116. Thank God we got Marquez Valdez-Scantling earlier, or I would be fuming. Still kind of wanted McCole Hardman at the beginning of the 11th round, but I'm not going to be losing my mind at this point. This team has gone very wide receiver heavy through the beginning of the draft. They have 2 tight ends here with Mark Andrews and Dallas Goedert. I think they can almost go whatever direction they want. They went wide receiver heavy early on. They only have 2 running backs. They only have Jalen Hurts at quarterback. They go Dameon Pierce. I'm going to be very excited about that. We wanted Rodgers as our second quarterback here to pair up with Patrick Mahomes. We get Aaron Rodgers. I think we're going to have a ton of intriguing targets a little bit later on. We can get Christian Watson in round 12. We could get Sammy Watkins at the very end of the draft. We could get Robert Tonyan as our second tight end to pair up with Darren Waller. I know everybody in the chat's going to say, oh, you can get Romeo Doubs. I don't really care about that, but I think that's still, you have a very compelling argument to take the back-to-back MVP. I understand he doesn't have rushing upside, but still, we are getting Aaron Rodgers at pick 118. We're getting Aaron Rodgers 16 selections behind Derek Carr. We are getting Aaron Rodgers approximately, probably 26 selections behind Matthew Stafford. It's funny, in the draft where I won $20,000 as well, we had Aaron Rodgers. I believe there is our quarterback 1. I remember Rodgers being horrible last year. Did he actually make a difference some weeks for us? So you have Cousins off the board. That's good for us. We were not going to be looking at another quarterback here. At this point, do we indeed just take Isaiah Spiller or do we decide to go with another wide receiver? Let's look at what we'll have on the way back arounds. The way back around, we could be looking at Michael Carter, a James Robinson at running back. We could be looking at George Pickens, Robbie Anderson at wide receiver. Robbie Anderson and Devontae Parker are going to be very comparable for me. We'll just go ahead. We'll take Isaiah Spiller. I think it's marginal. I don't necessarily think that Isaiah Spiller is the best selection in the world here. What I will say is Isaiah Spiller going to an elite level offense. Isaiah Spiller should have a role on a week-to-week basis. The only season that you've had Austin Eckler ever in his entire NFL career seeing more than 50% of the carries on a per-game basis for the Los Angeles Chargers was this past season. I think that the ideal Los Angeles Chargers deployment of Austin Eckler still gives him all the high value touches in the offense, still gives him every single target out of the backfield, still gives them every single touch in the red zone. But Isaiah Spiller should have a role in this offense right away. And of course, the big reason you're drafting Isaiah Spiller is if you were to see an injury to Austin Eckler in this backfield, all of a sudden Isaiah Spiller becomes that much more valuable.
Honestly, I don't even hate the Isaiah Spiller pick looking back on it. Now, never a player with that much upside, right? But the other running backs were Darrell Henderson, Naheem Hines, James Robinson. So, I mean, it is kind of what it is.
Figurine Champ says, Mason with the State Farm quarterbacks. I love it. Okay, I'll say, I do not love the fact that we have the State Farm QBs here. Like, if I was ever going to go out and pick an insurance company, why would you ever pick State Farm? Just knowing that they've probably spent billions and billions of dollars on advertising. Like, how the hell are they giving you good service with how much money they spend on advertising? Why do I have to watch a State Farm commercial every 5 seconds when there's a football game on? It's the most ridiculous thing ever. Now we have Christian Watson going pick 133. So that does suck for us. I mean, there have been a lot of drafts where you're able to get Christian Watson at the 12-13 turn. And of course, I've been taking advantage of that, especially on Aaron Rodgers builds. But at the end of the day, when you take Rodgers here, a main reason that we do so is we're still going to be able to be fine with some of these other stacking options in Green Bay later on. We can still get a Robert Tonyan. We can still get a Sammy Watkins. So hopefully we have someone like Tua Tagovailoa off the board soon. Trevor Lawrence just went off pick 136. If Lawrence is going off pick 136 here, I think that we actually may have some of these quarterbacks sliding up because there are a lot of teams that are picking here at the end of the 12th that only have one quarterback. So it'd be obviously very good for us if Lawrence goes. Frymuth goes 138. Pat Frymuth is someone that I take non-stop here at the end of the 12th round because this is when this entire tier of tight ends go off the board. I usually don't take a tight end earlier like Dawson Knox. I just wait until the end of this tier. But it's probably a good thing for us to get Frymuth off the board because now we're not going to be tempted to go ahead and take a Pat Frymuth and not be able to get Robert Tonyan later on like we probably need to. So this team on the clock, they go Gainwell. So that's going to mean we're going to get Jacoby Myers here, pick 142. I mean, with Myers, I'm completely fine with this selection. If you're looking at the target share that this wide receiver's had in New England over the past 2 seasons, it's been elite. He has been the alpha wide receiver 1. Now, at the same time, with Jacoby Myers, clearly the issue is this is a wide receiver that is not going to be scoring touchdowns a ton. This is a wide receiver that you could project to have one of the lowest touchdown rates in the entire NFL. But still, at this price point, that's going to be baked in. I'm going to be completely fine with this price. Michael Carter off the board, 144. I have noticed that Tyler Algier, as of late, has been falling down his ADP, but quite a lot, to be completely honest. Ronald Jones has also been plummeting down ADP. I'm not interested in DJ Chark here. If I was going to take a wide receiver, I would reach on someone a considerable amount, to be honest. Gerald Everett off the board. Do y'all want to see a Tyler Algier selection, or do you want us to reach on a wide receiver that we could potentially get on the way back around in the 14th round? Is there something poor going on with Algier here? I know a lot of people want George Pickens. I've already drafted George Pickens in a ton of these. We used to get Pickens in like the 16th, 17th round. I don't feel the need to take him here. Okay. We have a couple people telling us to take Tyler Algier, a couple people telling us to take George Pickens. Like I said, we were never going to be taking George Pickens at the wide receiver position. We already got all our George Pickens shares in at a much cheaper cost. Obviously, Tyler Algier is a big reason why we won this tournament, actually giving us a ton of production at the end of the year. But I am surprised that I didn't even talk about the possibility of us taking Tua there on the turn to stack with Tyreek rather than taking Aaron Rodgers at the 10-11 turn. Obviously, hindsight being 2020, but I feel like this year, honestly, maybe would have instead gone with a wide receiver round 10, and then instead of Jacoby Myers, I would have gone Tua round 12. George Pickens ended up falling here to pick 159 to the team that decided to take the combination of both Kelsey and Kyle Pitts on the same roster.
Jameson Williams goes at pick 163. That would have been the wide receiver we probably would have reached on in the last round. I thought there was a chance we got him in the 14th. That's why we decided to go with Tyler Algier instead. Tyler Higbee goes pick 164. At this point, we said what we were going to do. I think we just have to go ahead and do it. We are going to draft Robert Tonyan unless, do y'all think we should take Ronald Jones here and roll the dice that Robert Tonyan makes it back to us on the way back around? If we're looking at the teams picking between us, they all have one tight end. This team's tight end is Gerald Everett. This team's tight end is Dalton Schultz. So maybe you think Ronald Jones is the best player available, but because we took Rodgers and we need another tight end. Okay, it looks like a lot of people are saying Rojo. Okay, looks like a lot of people are saying Rojo. We also have Mahomes, so maybe you could make the argument that we have some correlation here. Let's take Ronald Jones and let's really hope. Oh, no. 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 Oh, that is tough, guys. Robert Tonyan goes directly after the pick of Ronald Jones at 166. Our plan was Robert Tonyan at the end of the 14th. We should have just done it. We should have just pulled the trigger. We shouldn't have tried to get cute with it. And this team here at the turn decides to start it off with Zach Wilson. Hopefully they give us David Njoku on the way back around. Give me Njoku on the way back around. Gosh, dang. Crowder goes 169. This team here has Gerald Everett and Robert Tonyan at tight end. So honestly, if I'm going to be completely honest, if I were them, I'd probably just go ahead. I'd probably just take another tight end here. But they decide not to. They show us mercy. We get David Njoku, pick 171. With Njoku versus Tonyan, they're definitely in the same tier. The only reason I really wanted Robert Tonyan was because we had that Aaron Rodgers selection, so we could get that correlation in there with that Green Bay Packers offense.
Honestly, I feel like us not taking Robert Tonyan there and getting David Njoku instead, even if we wasted a pick on Ronald Jones, that may be what ended up saving us, right? Because, I mean, in general, most of these picks, once you get to this point of the draft, are going to be wasted selections. Whether that's Tyrion Davis-Price, Mike Gesicki, KJ Hamler, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jamison Williams, Mac Jones, Ronald Jones, Robert Tonyan, Jamison Crowder, Paris Campbell, Marvin Jones, Amir White. All these guys are pretty much wasted picks. So, I mean, you're fine like wasting one of these selections if you can hit on the other. So maybe us not getting Robert Tonyan and instead David Njoku, even if it didn't get us our stack, maybe that's what won us this draft. But regardless, if we're going to go through, if we're going to look at this team, so far at running back, we have Christian McCaffrey, Leonard Fournette, Isaiah Spiller, Tyler Algier, and Ronald Jones. So we have the elite level running back production at the very top, not much depth behind it. At wide receiver, we have Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, Devonta Smith, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Tyler Lockett, and Jacoby Myers. We have the elite level quarterbacks with Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. We have an elite level tight end with Darren Waller, but then our second tight end is Njoku. I love this team through the beginning portion of the draft, but I think we messed it up. This team could have been better. This team could have been better. Okay, so after we take Njoku, I don't even exactly know what we're hoping for at this point. Maybe that team's decided to just continue to go through and slam quarterbacks and allow other value to fall to us. C. Widener says, how come Ronald Jones is dropping so much? I think it's because so many people are hyped on the 7th round rookie running back out of Rutgers for the Kansas City Chiefs that they think he's going to be playing over Rojo. Yeah, if y'all don't know, I did not believe in Isaiah Pacheco early on last year. I mean, I was not ready to assume that Isaiah Pacheco was going to be anything. So let's sit here and think. Do we want a 6th running back? Probably not in reality. Trying to think, ladies and gentlemen. I know y'all are going to hate me. I have to do it. I have to do it. This entire league is about weeks 15, 16, 17. 4 out of the 12 teams advanced to the tournament in weeks 15, 16, 17. 4 out of the 12 teams advance here. We just have to be one of those top 4 teams in this regular season. And then we need to have the highest ceiling possible in weeks 15, 16, 17. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Deshaun Watson. I know everybody's going to hate it. But in reality,
Who has the highest ceiling? Who is more likely to win us $100,000 in weeks 15, 16, and 17? Marlon Mack, Mo Alley Cox, or Deshaun Watson? It's probably Deshaun Watson if you think about it through that context. We have Myers. Maybe we just get some correlation in here with Kendrick Bourne. Yeah, with Deshaun Watson, this pick was more so going back to what we are doing a lot throughout this entire draft, and it's something I want to reiterate. What we are thinking through these underdog tournaments is what player has the highest ceiling weeks 15, 16, 17. That's when the real money is won. That's when we really need to try to be optimizing for. So that's like the number one thing that I could say throughout this entire draft. That and staying flexible. You'll notice we didn't have an exact concrete plan going into the draft, and we let the board fall to us. We took values where they were, and we chased upside, upside, upside. Ooh, real quick. We are on the clock in that 18th round of the $250 draft. Let me make sure that we're not auto-drafting Davis Mills here. That would be horrible. Okay, thank God we're going to get David Bell. Okay. David Bell actually falling to us there in the last round. I think that may have saved our draft. Getting the double stack there with Deshaun Watson, David Bell, and David Njoku. Okay, and we had Amari Cooper in that draft. That $250 draft, I actually did not like it as we were drafting it. But now looking back on that team, if that team could stay afloat during the regular season and get to weeks 15, 16, and 17, I think we have a lot of upside. But hopefully this was able to help y'all out. Hopefully we were able to win the big dog again this year for another 100,000, or instead win Best Ball Mania for $3 million. That would be a little bit nicer. But of course, if you want to draft with us, we're drafting every single night on the live stream on Underdog Fantasy. If you're new to Underdog, I definitely recommend you getting in like the $4 or $5 tournaments instead of the $250 tournaments. But you can sign up with promo code FLOCK and they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. Plus, you'll get our 2023 fantasy football rankings, a free trial to flockfantasy.com, where you can check out our 2023 fantasy football draft guide. Also, go check out all the pick'ems that they have on Underdog. My favorite pick'em right now is DeAndre Swift for more rushing yards than Damian Harris. But I think that's all I have for you. Again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope that I get to see you out in the live stream and draft with you tonight.